And Mitchell Rose and Notts County get us underway with the ball back to the Irishman Damien McCrory, who plays it out in the direction of Kyle Wotton, who immediately palms one man off, almost stiff arms him and chests it, and plays it back to his right fullback Richard Brindley. The ball forward though finds a yellow and black shirt, and it's now Fylde who will knock it away as Conal Rawlinson manages to angle his header back to his goalkeeper Sam Slocum, who's in all green here this afternoon. You're listening to Matchday. It's BBC Radio Nottingham. And there's probably around 9,000 or 10,000 in here. A few walk-ups as well. The non-league record is 11,000 as I break off, because the Dutchman Enzio Baldwin, who started on the left-hand side, tries to get away, slipped away down the left channel by Wes Thomas, who has the 7 on his back. And the Magpies have an early throw-in. Mitchell Rose is the man who will take it. Has a long throw, but as Mark Stallard was explaining to me before kick-off, not as long as the AFC Fylde manager Dave Challoner's throw used to be. Claims it's a world record length, even longer than Rory Delap's. Here comes the long throw from Rose into the 6-yard box and straight into the midriff of the goalkeeper, Dan Lavacoon, who is starting his 3rd game for the Coasters. That's what they're called. Only formed 31 years ago, which means Fylde have been around as long as I have. Not quite as long as Mark Stallard. Here they come down the left-hand side. Less said about that, the better. Ball pulled back along the 6-yard box, and Zamana Bakayoko shows perhaps a lack of composure and maybe not taking any chances. He puts it behind. It's a first corner of the game inside 2 minutes for the visitors.
Yeah, it is, and I think Conal Rawlinson, ball down the channel and the Notts right-hand side, defensive right. I think he's just looking to see if Sam Slocum maybe could have come and got that. He didn't. As the ball came in, Bakayoko had to concede the corner.
Corner taken short. It went to Horton, but he was dispossessed, albeit briefly. Forbes will now angle a ball into the Notts penalty area, and the linesman's flag is up on the near side, and it will be a Magpies free kick. These two sides have never played each other. Notts are looking for back-to-back victories for the first time since February, which was at Forest Green and at home against Mansfield Town. Big crowd in that day, certainly a bigger crowd than today. There was 13,500, 14,000 at Meadow Lane that day when Notts managed to beat the Stags. Meanwhile, the Stags have got Plymouth in League 2 today. And we will cross to Jake throughout the afternoon and bring you the very, very latest on how they're getting on there. John Dempster still under a little bit of pressure, although perhaps has eased a touch after their 2-2 draw at Port Vale a week ago. Ball through the middle, and here come Fylde, though Sam Slocum's quickly off of his line, and I think some of those Fylde frontmen have got a few complaints and suggesting that Croasdale was being held back a little bit by the Notts centre-half. Have they got a point, Mark Stella?
Well, they might have a point. He just got away from Croasdale as he ran through, looked to break through the lines, and he could have well found himself with a one-on-one. I think Regan Booty just tugging at his arm, but fortunately Sam Slocum out of his penalty area to clear, and not really giving the referee a decision to make. But early warning sign there for Notts that Fylde playing pretty much a 4-2-3-1 formation, but they're going to not be shy in getting some of their midfield runners beyond the strikers and asking questions of the Notts defenders.
It's twice in the early stages of this game, we've only played 3.5 minutes, that they've managed to turn that Notts defence around, and they're not the quickest.
No, certainly not, and that's exactly what you would want to do as the away team. But again, you can maybe see already in the opening minutes as Fylde, if that doesn't come off, they're going to have bodies forward. They're going to be leaving gaps in behind, and if Notts can get on the ball and exploit that, then we could be in for a very open game.
It's the visitors who have a throw from the far side. They've only played 4 minutes here this afternoon. And the long throw-in goes down the left-hand side, flicked on by Bradley. And Damien McCrory quickly scampers onto it. I was chatting to Neil Ardley yesterday. It's maybe a 20-minute interview that you can hear. It's on the BBC Sounds page for the Terrace, BBC iPlayer as well. If you want to find the link, it's on at BBC RNS, and he was saying when the mics weren't turned on how impressed he'd been by Damien McCrory in the early stages of this season, not just as a left fullback, which is obviously the preferred position, but when he fills in at centre half as well, even daring to say that he might have been the best performer, the best player so far in a black and white shirt. Would you go with that?
Well, he certainly did well when he's been asked to play in at centre half. I would say possibly bar the East League game where Notts were really almost getting to know each other in that game. But yeah, he's certainly been a solid performer. Yeah, fullback's his normal position, but quite adept and looks not particularly out of place when he plays in the centre. He's got that plenty of league experience behind him, so he's the sort of player that you think could play in there and not make too much a difference to his game.
6 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League this afternoon, all goalless for the time being, but we'll keep you across those scores in the top division as they go in throughout the daytime. Match of the day with you on BBC One this evening at around 10:30 or so. Sheffield United were beaten at Bramall Lane by Liverpool in the lunchtime kickoff by a goal to nil, and it's Everton Man City in the tea time kickoff today. Fylde again down the right hand side this time, but McCrory comes across, steps in front and tries to clear it away off of the Fylde man, but it bounces back towards him, takes a bit of a ricochet, and Booty has to clear up in the direction of Kyle Wootton. Tried to flick it on, but the ball hit the wrong side of his head and it breaks back into the Magpies half, and Mitchell Rose manages to steer the play back in the direction of Sam Slocum. They build from the back and they recycle it from left to right, and here's Richard Brindley sprinted into a bit of space. He plays the ball down the right wing, and here's Rose once more, edge of the penalty area. He'll win Notts a corner kick, and all of that in front of the nearly full Kop end, which is where most of that noise you can hear is coming from.
Yeah, good Notts play, building from the back, as you're saying. That's exactly why teams look to build from the back, to try and create the space down the opposite side. And that's exactly what they did for Fylde there, down that right-hand side. Richard Brindley finding the forward run of Mitch Rose, who wins this corner from Notts attacking right.
It's an in-swinger in towards the edge of that 6-yard box, headed away by Danny Rowe back there, proving his worth at both ends of the pitch. But Notts have it back. It's with the youngster Osborne, who's going to try his luck from range. First time he's been involved in the early stages of this game. Now to Thomas, edge of the penalty area, down the left-hand side, tries to beat his man with a bit of tricky footwork, and in the end it's going to be a goal kick. He tried to turn the ball out and in one motion, almost kind of Ronaldinho-esque bit of skill that he attempted. The difference is that the Brazilian tended to do it a little bit more effectively than Wes Thomas.
That's it. It's not very often you'll hear a Wes Thomas Ronaldinho comparison, Charlie, but you've got that one in early. I like it.
Thank you very much. Who had on the clock 7 minutes?
Nobody. But no, good attack by Notts. As I say, the corner came in. Sam Osborne showing good strength to retain the possession and keep the Notts on the front foot. Unfortunately, Wes Thomas not able to make anything from it.
Mitch Rose has it, tries to knock Croasdale in the middle of the Fylde half, but the number 8 for the Coasters does just enough, and they come away with Williams down the right-hand side. Gives it to Rowe, who's out on the right wing. Tries to dink it through the middle. He does just that, but Danny Bradley, who scored on both Tuesday night and last Saturday for Fylde, couldn't get on the end of it, and it runs straight through instead to Sam Slocum. 8 minutes on the clock. Derby have taken the lead at home against Birmingham after their rather disrupted week of preparation, let's say. Doesn't seem to have affected them in the early stages. The lunchtime game in the Championship finished QPR 0, West Brom 2, and so Nottingham Forest's brief time at the top of the tree has come to an end, usurped by the Baggies, although more teams could pass them as the afternoon goes by. 8 minutes on the clock here, goalless between Notts and Fylde, the Magpies and the Coasters, and Kyle Wootton is working hard again as he's trying to put pressure on the team in yellow and black, but here they come, carving their way through the middle, and it was only Damien McCrory who's come across, who's made the tackle and hurt himself in the process, that managed to stop that cutting run from Nick Horton. And you hope, beyond all hope, that not another centre-half is injured for Notts County.
Yeah, my immediate worry there for Damien McCrory. It's a fantastic tackle, block tackle, good turn and run from Nick Horton at pace, running directly at the heart of the Notts defence. And as Damien McCrory came out, it was a block tackle, but it's one of them where, and I hope I'm wrong, but it's one of them where you can just jolt your ligaments, your knee ligaments doing that. And
that's what he's working on.
He's immediately gone on the floor and well, in a heap, not moved, has he? The physio's on with him now, and he's immediately doing that ligament test, the stretch test, where they just support the leg and just flex the knee internally and then externally to see whether there's any damage. We've got our fingers crossed that he hasn't. It was a fantastic tackle that was needed to be made as well, as Horton was bearing down on the D on the edge of the centre, edge of the penalty area. And we'll just wait and see exactly how bad this injury for Damien McCrory is, but it was a fantastic block tackle.
Well, they've already lost Sam Graham to a torn Achilles, and he's going to miss the rest of the season. They're missing Big Ben Turner, who has I think I heard Neil Ardley refer to it as a grade 1 tear to his calf muscle, and quite frankly, I'm not au fait with all of the grading. Are you, Mark Stallard, as a former athlete?
Former being the operative word there, yeah. I mean, grade 1, 2 and 3 I think you get. I think grade 1 is the lightest of the tears, so I think, but it could be the other way round. It could be a bit of Ted Rogers 3-2-1.
Thanks for clearing that up for us, Mark.
It's clear as mud.
Good news is Damien McCrory is back on his feet, and he trotted off to the near touchline without too much of a limp. And even better news, tear fans, is that Colin Fray is now Googling which order it goes in. So nothing but clear for you this afternoon on BBC.
I never completed my doctorate, if anybody's wondering.
Did you not?
No.
This would have been an afternoon for John Thompson. He's a qualified physio. He'd have known. Ball out to the right hand side, and it's gone out for
Can we get him on the phone? Can we get Tomo on the phone?
You never know. Here we go. Grade 1, mild damage to individual muscle fibres, less than 5%. Grade 2 is more extensive, and grade 3 means that they take your leg away.
I was right first time.
Well done, Stal. It's with Regan Booty. Less said about his surname, the better. It's with Thomas now on the left-hand side. Here come Notts again. Still a sunny afternoon, but there's plenty of cloud knocking about over the top of the stadium here in this part of Nottingham. Wootton back to Rose. The Magpies well camped inside the Fylde half. 11 minutes on the clock. It's still goalless, and now with Sam Osborne on the right wing, he cuts in. He's going to get nudged off the ball, I think. He then stands on the ball. A player goes over the top of him, and ultimately Fylde come up with it. Though Mitchell Rose is putting plenty of pressure on them in the middle of their half, and the visitors come away. It's with Danny Rowe, who shows the loose bit of control, and Notts have a throw inside their own half. 12 minutes gone, 0-0 here. Find out how the Stags are getting on at Field Mill in the early stages against Plymouth. Good afternoon, Jake Garner. Thank you, Jake. As it is here, Notts are in possession with Richard Brindley on the right-hand side. Tries to play the ball forward, but a deflection is going to turn it into the path of Osborne. Instead, who shoots and draws a good save out of the goalkeeper, who acrobatically palms the ball over the top and behind for a corner kick. Amazing what a bit of confidence of getting your first senior goal just a few days ago can do for the youngster.
Yeah, certainly struck that with belief, didn't he? Ferocious shot from almost the angle of the 18-yard box. Deflected into his path. Sam Osborne bounced up, hit it first time with his right foot, a dipping volley. The Dan Lavercombe in the Fylde goal does well to tip over the bar.
Well, the corner kick will come in from Booty, in at the near post, headed away by Croasdale, and back out in the direction of Booty once more. He's going to leave it for a long throw for Mitchell Rose. Will cross back to Mansfield in a few moments' time, because I believe there might have been goal action there. Mitchell Rose will hear the beat of the drum, which comes just to the right of him from the Kop stand. And a long throw into the penalty area now. Rawlinson the target, headed away. Booty sticks it back in the mix. It falls to Thomas. Turns, shoots. The keeper makes the save. Does he keep it in? No. Linesman says it's going to be another corner kick. We will cross to Jake in a moment. But once this attack has come to a conclusion for Notts, all of those Magpies supporters behind this end trying to sock the ball into the net. It feels as though there is promise to this attack, this latest foray forward from the Magpies. And Regan Booty will take another corner. Referee, before that gets taken, though, wants to clear up a little bit of kind of customary token shoving inside the 6-yard box. He's talking to Enzio Baldwin, and it might be Scott Duxbury as well, who used to be at Stockport. Got his head bandaged from a cut that he sustained in the week. And here comes the in-swinging corner from Booty. This one's much deeper towards the back post, and Rawlinson can't quite nod it back across. It's a goal kick, and Jake can tell us what's happened at Mansfield. Thank you, Jake. Ball through here will run all the way to Sam Slocum. After Fylde tried to break through the middle, Bakayoko sent tumbling to the ground. Wootton controls the ball inside the centre circle and lays it off for his captain Mitchell Rose, and now back to Conor Rawlinson, who's going to give the ball away. In the Premier League, West Ham have taken the lead at Bournemouth, 1-0 there, 1-0 in the lunchtime game in the Premier League. Liverpool winning at Sheffield United, likewise West Brom winning by 2-0 in the lunchtime game in the Championship. That was at QPR. Derby are a goal up along the A52 from here against Birmingham City. Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 up at Middlesbrough, 1-0 to Swansea at home against Reading. Croasdale plays it over the top and down the left-hand side. A couple of runners trying to chase it, but Sam Slocum was always going to be the first to the ball. Clears it away up towards the halfway line. Now it's with McCrory. Anywhere will do attempt. It falls to Philliskirk. He plays it out to that left-hand side once more. Brindley back. So is Osborne, as is Mitchell Rose. The Magpies win it. Rose plays a heavy touch out of his feet, but fortunately he was bailed out by the referee as one of the Fylde midfielders stepped across, cut off his run, and down went Rose, and referee duly obliged and gave the Magpies a free kick.
Yeah, I think it was just Danny Philliskirk, wasn't it, just stepping across Mitch Rose's runners, not attempted to break. A poor misplaced pass from Fylde. But what you've noticed already in the opening 16 minutes of this game, both teams trying to get the ball down and play out from the back. You know, it's maybe come into this National League expecting week in, week out to be big, long ball, physical battles, which of course there's plenty of physicality out there, but Fylde looking to play just as much as Notts.
Which tended to suit Notts so far this season. You think back to Halifax. It's those games where they don't, we were talking before the game, so much have to earn the right, as in they have to be solid and a bit ugly before they can start playing. Teams that tend to like to play, inevitably, allow you to play a little bit as well. It's with Thomas on the left-hand side, gives it to Balderwin, who cuts back onto his right foot, surrounded by yellow and black shirts, and he's going to win a throw-in. Dave Challoner, the Fylde manager, who's been in charge of the Coasters since 2011, which is, when you consider that the club is only 31 years old, a pretty sizable chunk of the club's history. Bakayoko takes the throw and finds Kyle Wootton, who's got pink boots on this afternoon. That's going to be another Notts throw along this near touchline. For a moment I thought Bakayoko might have done just about enough to win a free kick, but it would have been kind, and so it's another throw that's taken quickly. Bakayoko to Enzio and back once more. Got time, finds Booty, and he plays it infield to Rawlinson, who stepped out of defence. Fires a pass into Wes Thomas, who does well to control it and turn his man and weave into the penalty area and shoot and score! How about that for an individual effort from Wes Thomas, who salutes the thousands in attendance here this afternoon at Meadow Lane. 18 minutes on the clock. Lovely individual goal from Notts number 7, who gets his third of the season. It's the Magpies 1, the Coasters 0.
Yeah, fantastic individual goal, and you just wondered whether he'd had a touch too many. He did really, really well. Received the ball 25 yards out, back to goal. It was fired into him from Conor Rawlinson, who was stepping out of defence. He did well, kept control of the ball, rolled the defender on his shoulder, advanced into the penalty area in the inside right. He had options. I think Mitch Rose was just inside screaming for a little square ball, chose to ignore him, took it on, and then from 8 to 9 yards out on the angle, he fired the ball into the roof of the net beyond Davin Lavercombe, giving Notts the lead, 1-0.
No striker in their right mind would have passed that ball, and I'm looking at Les Brad, I'm looking at Mark Stallard. Neither of you would have passed that.
I'm just saying he had an option. He did exactly the right thing, because the ball's in the back of the net.
Indeed.
And that's what any striker will tell you.
We're inside 20 minutes. Notts are 1-0 up, and the wheelbarrow song is being belted out.
It's been exactly like we say, hasn't it? The opening 20 minutes, you know, Fylde looking to play. They're pushing men forward themselves, but quite open. You know, that they can be got at, as we can see, and then hopefully that first goal might just have to bring them out a little bit more. They might just have to take an extra chance, and this game will really open up then.
Goal kick Notts. Slocum takes. So Notts a goal up. Mansfield a goal down last night. Forest winning at Stoke and briefly going top of the Championship. Meanwhile, the ref's down. I think, did he collide?
I think he's struggling
yeah,
as well.
he collided with the AFC Fylde defender, Kyle Jamieson, and it seemed to really shake him. Kyle Wootton went to go and pick him up, and he immediately kind of made the signal that he might need a change. The physio has come on and is checking on the referee, which is Mr. Peter Gibbons this afternoon. You'll never guess who one of the assistant referees is. It's Paul Ince. I don't think it's the same Paul Ince that used to manage here. In fact, let me check. No, it's definitely not. The fourth official is Lee Hartley. So we might have to see a little bit of a switcheroo here. The fourth official's going to get warmed up. And, you know, at this juncture, 21 minutes on the clock, we might as well check back in with Jake up the A60 and find out how the Stags have responded to going a goal down at home against Plymouth. Jake. Cheers, Jake. 22 minutes on the clock here. I think the referee is okay. He's all smiles now and he's up, and the fourth official is probably a relieved man, and he's heading back to his usual post in between the two managers in the technical area. The linesman on this near side seem to be in charge of that more than anything. Seem to run the show, but yes, Mr. Gibbons is back to his feet, and he had a bit of that cold freeze spray, I think, on, might have been his ankle. So maybe he had his ankle or his foot trodden on, and Wes Thomas has to give the ball back to Dan Lavacoum, and we resume play here with Notts continuing to lead by 1-0. Always funny when it's a ref, particularly when they get up and they look to be okay. Couldn't laugh at the time, we can giggle now. I'll
be honest, I had a little smirk at the time, I'll be honest, but that's my history with referees, I'm afraid. But yeah, good to see he's all right, but always a comedy moment in it when the ref ends up on the backside.
What's he stop the game for now?
I think he might be struggling.
Yeah, he's coming over to the near side.
He's going to take himself off.
I think he is as well here. Where's the fourth gone? Referee's coming off, he's getting a round of applause as well from the not supporters. I think he might be the first referee to be applauded here for many a year. He's just come over, he's having a chat with Neil Cox, the Notts assistant, and it would appear as though they're now waiting for the change. Where's the fourth official? Tell me he didn't have his shirt on. The fourth officials give substitutes earache for that all the time, and I think he's had to disappear back down the tunnel. Neil Ardley and Dave Challoner are chatting to the ref now as well, and quite frankly, a bit of quiet has descended over Meadow Lane because everybody's somewhat confused as to what is going to happen next.
Yeah, let's be honest, this isn't great for Notts, is it, this? Having just scored, crowd, you know, got a good atmosphere, good noise about them, and this is completely sort of derailing the momentum of the game, and they're having to call, is that the referee's assessor out of the stand in front of us?
The assessor's having to come down. I was just looking for a moment, they're having to glance up into the stand here, and the assessor's getting a round of applause now. Keep going straight, mate, straight down, straight down. He almost turned right. The fourth official's disappeared. Maybe he didn't fancy it, maybe he's bottled it. And the assessors had to come out of the stand. This has never happened where I am. He's going to be the fourth official, presumably, because the fourth official has now re-emerged, and he's going to take over. He'll be ref. Just making sure that their watches are kind of measuring up. And the assessor's now the fourth. He looks like he's dressed like a manager. Quick handshake with Neil Ardley. And the linesmen stay as you were. They're not substitutes, are going to go and warm up just for something to do because there's now to watch. And we shall shortly resume.
But I've got to be honest, Joe, I mean, from a player's point of view now, you know, refs get stick for numerous reasons, and injuries can happen. Of course they can. Why does this have to, what, we had 5 minutes now, stoppage? Why do we have to stop the game? Like I say, from a home perspective, the fans were up, Notts had just scored, the momentum's with them. Completely just halts the momentum of the game, allows Fylde maybe to get together and have a bit of a word, and just stops the flow of the game. And it's little things like that that, yeah, we'll laugh it off as a bit of a joke, but they'll be annoying. That'll annoy Neil Ardley.
The chant from the far side from the literally dozens of Fylde fans, I'm surprised I can hear, was "You're not fit to referee." That's quite funny. But why the referee needed the assessor to come down when he can surely become the fourth official? Hasn't taken
well, we can't possibly continue with a football match without a fourth official, can we?
Indeed. Well, anyway, we're back underway, and 5.5 minutes later, Notts briefly had possession. They've been dispossessed, though. McCrory robbed of the ball on the Notts left, Fylde right, and fortunately for Notts, they win it back. There's a little nudge in the back of Wes Thomas, and first decision of the day for the new referee was the fourth official, Lee Hartley. Gets the approval of these Notts County supporters.
Yeah, exactly. He's ingratiating himself with the home fans with that decision, but I think it was a little nudge in the back of Wes Thomas, and Notts have got to get back into a rhythm, haven't they? Got to try and, you know, keep the tempo going, keep on that front foot, not allow Fylde to get themselves back in this game.
Sam Osborne slips over and concedes possession, and now Regan Booty has fallen as well inside the centre circle. It's with Forbes on the right wing for Fylde. He made his debut on Tuesday night. He's still going here. He's weaved in between 2 or 3 players with the help of a 1-2, and now it's shifted across the edge of the penalty area. Bradley's going to have a go at goal, falls to Rowe. Osborne gets his foot in there as well. He should have the pace advantage if he can get away from Rowe, whereas Rowe is really old manning him, and I thought Notts would maybe get a free kick, but really, more than anything, he was just the stronger, more physical player. Here they come again through the middle of the park. Smith Horton tries to get away from a player or two, and the referee, who was in the Notts fans' good books, is now in the bad books, because he didn't give a free kick just then to the Magpies, and he has now given one to the visitors just to the right of centre and probably 30 to 35 yards out from goal. Yeah,
it's the second time we've seen Nick Horton turn and run at the heart of the Notts defence, playing just in that little pocket in off the right-hand side. It looks dangerous. They look the most dangerous, don't they? Running from a little bit deeper, maybe getting turned. We've just seen the fullback Tyler Forbes go on a good little mazy run on the edge of the box. So again, it's Fylde who look lively despite being a goal behind. They're certainly posing a threat.
Well, this free kick is an awful long way out. Standing over the ball is Williams. He's not going to be the man who'll take it. Instead, it was Danny Rowe who hit it with enough pace, but it was pretty central and always dropping over the top of the crossbar. Sam Slocum never looked all that bothered by it. 28 minutes gone. Notts lead by 1-0. That goal coming inside the 18th minute when Wes Thomas picked up the ball back to goal, 25 yards out, turned his man, managed to weave in between 2 or 3 players and smash the ball past the goalkeeper, Dan Lavercombe. Are we going with Laver or Laver, by the way? Because I think I've said it different on about 3 or 4 different occasions now, so I want to uniform it up. Who are you going with?
Oh, I'm a little bit fluid on names sometimes, so we'll go Lavercombe for now.
Lavercombe, OK, thank you very much. Mitchell Rose wins it for Notts inside the centre circle. He has Osborne to the right, Enzio to the left, and he goes to the Notts youngster Osborne, who stabs it past his man and beats him, turns it out onto the wing, gives it to Wes Thomas, who controlled it in one motion and fell over in the next. Couldn't quite stay on his feet, but nice play from young Osborne on the right-hand side.
Yeah, exactly what you want from your wide midfield player, isn't it? Receives the ball, first touch is to knock it past the defender, get round the other side of him, and they're delivering to a dangerous area, and that's exactly what Sam Osborne did. And Wes Thomas, unfortunately, his touch was decent, but lost his foot in doing so, and we've seen 2 or 3 players lose their footing, haven't we? We know it's wet, we know the pitch has had a fair amount of rain on it this week, and the sprinklers were on as well, but just a few too many players slipping over.
Byrne goes back to the goalkeeper, Lavercombe, who clears it away, digs it out really with his left foot, and Bradley turns the ball around the corner with a little flick with the outside of his foot. It's to Duxbury, who tries to cut back inside. He falls over and then, ouch, catches Rich Brindley as he was getting back to his position. He's straight back up to his feet. Notts have a free kick near the edge of their own penalty area. We've played nearly half an hour here at Meadow Lane this afternoon. The Magpies continue to lead by that 1-0 on match day on BBC Radio Nottingham. Back with you match night on Tuesday. Forest are at Blackburn, so that starts at 7 o'clock, does the programme. And then the Terrace on Friday evening, 6 until 7, and then of course match day next Saturday. And Stow will be in Dover Just a hop, skip and a jump away from, well, France, if we're being honest.
The sea.
Yes. Long ball forward from that resulting free kick, turned out onto the left wing. The Dutchman Enzio will get there. He's got a couple of men for company, but manages to find Bakayoko. In turn finds Wootton, and now it is with Enzio. He's cutting in off of that left-hand side. He sees the run of Brindley out to the right wing, who's got loads of space. It's closed down by Bradley. Edge of the Fylde penalty area. He has it. Bit of support from Rose. It's gone a little bit stationary, this attack now for Notts. Not enough movement, as Brindley does well though to turn his man, and now they have a man over. Attempts the cross, few shouts for handball, but instead it will be a throw on the far side that surely the skipper Mitch Rose will trot across and take.
Yeah, good initial opening, wasn't it? Enzio Baldwin making his break from the left-hand touchline inside. Good little ball for Richard Brindley, but as you say, the momentum just got halted in that, and at this moment in time, Notts are in that bottom corner down by the corner flag. I think Mitch Rose takes it short in the end.
Yeah, goes to Booty, who tries to turn the ball into the penalty area, and it deflected, and that took most of the sting out of the cross. It goes through into the keeper's gloves in the end, and he clears it long first time, and quickly up towards Danny Rowe, and flicks it on to nobody. 31 minutes on the clock. We'll check back in with Jake Gardner in the next couple of minutes or so to see how Mansfield are shaping up now against Plymouth. We're trailing by a goal to nil the last time we checked. West Ham were 1-0 up at Bournemouth. It's now 1-1 there. And as Sam Osborne gets his foot on the ball once more and gives it to Thomas, to Rose in the centre circle. It's 1-0 to Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park against Norwich, 1-0 to Spurs at home against Tottenham, and 1-0 to Wolves in the battle of the kind of early strugglers in the Premier League. They taking on Watford at Molineux this afternoon. Throwing to Fylde on the far side, and Jake can tell us how things are going at Field Mill. Thank you, Jake. Luton have the lead in the Championship at Ewood Park, where Forest go on Tuesday night. So Blackburn 0, Luton 1. Bakayoko goes back to Slocum, who takes a touch. He's got Bradley bearing down on him. He manages to fizz the ball away from his 6-yard box, and Notts have it with McCrory. Finds Enzio, poor touch from him. Bounces up at him around knee height, and has to go back to McCrory, who in turn goes back to Slocum once more, who again clears away, but not a brilliant clearance. Almost a bit of a hospital pass in the direction of Mitchell Rose, which is, I'm sure, not the intended target. And Notts have it back once more, and the goalkeeper again. Derby are still a goal up at home against Birmingham. Huddersfield 1-0 up against Millwall. Huddersfield still looking for a first win of the Championship season. 3-1 to Sheffield Wednesday at Middlesbrough, as Slocum again is involved and has to clear it away down the left-hand side. And Neil Ardley not happy with that rather lackadaisical passage of play from his players, and steps out of his dugout and tells them exactly that.
Yeah, I think what he's not happy with there is that just on too many occasions now they're taking the negative option, the easy option of going back to Sam Slocum, and Fylde have got a little bit wise to that, and they're initially leaving men forward and trying the furthest man away, the furthest attacking Fylde player away. He's trying to sneak in preparation for that, so Sam Slocum hasn't got time to shuffle the ball onto his favoured right foot, and that's exactly what happened there. Given the ball on his left-hand side, he's forced to clear quicker than he wants to, has to put it out puts it out for a throw-in inside their own half. And I think Neil Ardley's just saying your first look as a defender should always be forward.
Well, there are laughs and giggles all over Meadow Lane, because the tannoy announcement then was for any qualified football referee to please make themselves known. I always wonder at this point, what stops Bill from Hucknall doing such a thing and just saying, yeah, I am. Do they carry a licence?
Charlie, I'm off, mate. I'll see
Are
you
you off,
later.
Stal? Cole, step into the breach. Hang on, let me see. Colin Slater's not qualified. No, he's still very much firmly in his seat. So all eyes on somewhere now to see if a qualified footballing referee will step forwards, because now who's injured?
To do what?
I don't know, because the footballing assessor is the fourth official, but the referee who started the game, a break off as the ball comes into the penalty area. Danny Rowe misses a good opportunity to level the score. It's now over on the far side with Horton, who cuts it back across the 18-yard box once more, and Notts managed to clear it to an extent. It's out on the left wing now. Sam Osborne deflects an attempted cross, and it goes behind in the end for a corner kick. So, right, the lino to our right-hand side is okay. Is the lino on the far side okay?
I don't know, he might have cracked a nail. You don't know what's going on. Yeah, we've got, I mean, bizarre, but in the midst of that, while we were talking about that, Danny Rowe has just missed a really decent opportunity for somebody as prolific as him on his right foot from about 10 yards inside the Notts half, just sliced his effort completely and didn't make any sort of contact that he would have wanted. But yeah, we've got the lines, well, the fourth official who started as referee, and is he not qualified to do that? Or
I don't know.
How many officials do you need now for a game? I don't know.
Several. Mitch Rose out to Sam Osborne on the right-hand side, tries to get it past one man. By the help of a deflection, he does, and it's now with Rich Brindley, who does get past a man and then slide tackles it to Osborne. Now it's to Rose, crosses it into the area, straight to the keeper. Looking away to our left-hand side, there are quite a few people pointing at one individual as Enzio makes a slide tackle and puts it out for a throw-in, saying that someone down away to our left-hand side in the Derek Pavis should step forwards and become some form of official. It's very odd, because the referee who started the game, Peter Gibbons, who, forgive me, started all this monkey business. Thank you.
I wondered how long it'd take you.
Yeah. He's still sat next to the dugouts as if he can't walk. How's he going to leave later? Like, get him on crutches if you need to. How much running around do you need to do to be a fourth official? Whilst the referee's assessor stands in the kind of fourth official role, we've got two fourth officials, and apparently we need another official. I don't know. Somebody's
got to fill the assessor's notes in, haven't they? I mean, file that by Monday morning, and something as important as that. But yes, let's get back to the football, shall we?
Modern football, back in my day anyway. 37 minutes are on the clock. Notts are leading by a goal to nil. Wes Thomas, the goal scorer. You're listening to Matchday on BBC Radio Nottingham. That's a good ball into Rowe, edge of the penalty area, takes the touch out of his feet, touch too wide in the end, and back there is Zamana Bakayoko, who dispossesses the usually lethal number 9, or once lethal number 9, I don't know. He's scored 4 times this season and scored on Tuesday. Unfortunately, that time his touch wasn't his best.
Yeah, it was a good diagonal ball floated into him beyond the Notts back line. And as you say, as he went to control it, as it dropped on his right foot, just a heavy touch takes him away from Notts' goal and allows Notts to get enough numbers back to thwart the danger. But a couple of times they've got into dangerous positions. I think Danny Rowe will feel a little bit disappointed. He maybe hasn't tested Sam Slocum at least.
They've had their chances and they continue to put the pressure on these Notts defenders. They're on the edge of the Magpies penalty area as we speak. It's with Duxbury, who's going to have a go from around 20 yards or so at an angle, and he'll win his side a corner kick. Second of the game for the visitors.
I don't want to make too much of it, but do you not feel like since the goal and all the monkeying around with the referee,
you're at it.
But it's been filed on the front foot since then. Now, that might be natural, but it seems to have derailed Notts completely, the stoppage, and they're just struggling to get any flow, any pattern back into the game.
In swinging corner, in at the near post, former Forest man Neil Byrne trying to kind of kiss the ball gently across goal and try and find the far corner, but rather than kiss it, he kind of punched it with his head, if you can do such a thing, and stuck it behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, got it all wrong, didn't he? But, yeah, it just looks, and you can feel the atmosphere's a lot flatter, isn't it? It's, you know, just that. I think we're going to see we're going to see 5 minutes at least of stoppage time at the end of this first half. It just seems to have killed any momentum Notts had. They're still 1 goal to the good, and obviously that's good. But yeah, it just seems to have stopped Notts. They've not been able to keep the tempo the same, and they've got a little bit sloppy since that break.
Enzio controls the ball and then waits for somebody else to finish the job for him. And as a result, Notts concede a throw-in on this near side. But yeah, 5 minutes to go. of normal time. Every time I hear the referee's whistle now, I keep thinking, oh, we've got another change. Yeah, 5 minutes to go, plus 5 or 6 minutes on top of that. There is a new face down there on the touchline who's wearing a blue coat. Maybe that is a qualified referee who's made himself known. He's in discussion with the fourth official and the assessor as Horton tries to kind of carve his way through the middle of that Notts midfield and defence once more, but he's stopped this time. They shut the door on him, and Booty tries to clear away out onto the near side. It's with Forbes, who gives it to the number 10 Phyllis Kirk. Now to Rowe, who's dropped a bit deeper, going to have a go from range, and we are talking 30 yards, but it was always rising and has gone behind for a goal kick. All Fylde at the moment, though.
Yeah, it is a decent strike from Rowe. As you say, never going to quite keep it down below the crossbar, but he strikes a decent ball. But Fylde press men forward, don't they? They've got a high press, so if Notts can evade that first high press, then you feel that you're in at the Fylde back four, and there are chances there. But in the last 10 minutes or so, they've not been able to move the ball quick enough. It's been a little bit slow, sloppy passing, you know, behind players, just to the wrong feet, not in front of them. And as a result of that, Fylde have been able to press, and they've looked the more dangerous in the last 10 minutes or so.
Some frustrated murmurs starting to creep in here at Meadow Lane, with a crowd of around 9,000 or 10,000. I suspect it's a decent showing, and chances are will be the biggest crowd perhaps of this season. Maybe when Chesterfield come here, they may bring a few more. You look back to the ticket offer last season, which was only £2. 15,026 were here for the game against Cambridge, a game that Notts lost by 1 goal to 0. It was a dreadful encounter. The season before that, though, which was the season that Notts were pushing for promotion under Kevin Nolan, there was 17,274 in, and Notts won that day by 4 goals to 1. I remember the first 25 minutes of that, though, left a lot to be desired until Noor Hassin banged one in the top corner from around 25 yards, and it was a party from then. The man who scored the final goal that day was Mason Bennett. Here comes the ball through towards Enzio Baldwin, who takes a terrible touch. I mean, Kyle Wootton passed it a little bit in behind him, which didn't really help the Dutchman, but that could have been a good opportunity for Notts. Yeah,
it could. I will give Enzio a bit of slack there. I think the ball from Wootton, nowhere near enough pace on it. But it was a really decent opportunity. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you can get past the Fylde press, you're straight on at their back four, and then it's all down to the quality. Can you pick the pass and time the run?
They just look to be a little bit on their heels at the moment, Notts, as Fylde come away with it with Williams down the right-hand side, slips on the turf, so does Thomas. And Fylde keep hold of possession around the halfway line. Wolves are a goal up at home against Watford, as I said earlier, and 1-0 to Crystal Palace still against Norwich, 1-0 to Villa now at home against Burnley, and 1-1 still between Bournemouth and West Ham. It's Middlesbrough 1, Sheffield Wednesday 4 in the Championship. It's a tough going one for Gary Monk this afternoon, with all the changes back and forth this season and in recent history. As Fylde play it forward, and Zamana Bakayoko is tight to the back of Williams. Shifted out from centre to left, bit of a Hollywood pass, and it goes over the top of the head of Danny Bradley and out for a Notts throw. We approach the end of this first half. We've got about a minute and a half of normal time remaining, but presumably the fourth official will add quite a lot of stoppage time at the end, and it begs the next question, Mark Stallard. Who's going to lift the board?
Well, I wonder if that's what the announcement was for. Maybe the assessor has not been on the training course to use the electronic board. Oh dear.
What a worrisome time.
It is first world problems, this, isn't it?
It is. Concerning times in National League officiating. As Fylde have the ball once more. It's with Jameson. Gives it to Forbes on the right wing. To Williams as Bakayoko for company. And it's Bakayoko who wins the tackle, and in the process he pulls him back. And Williams beats the turf in frustration, and Notts have a free kick 10 yards inside their own half.
Yeah, good pressing by Bakayoko on that occasion. Yeah, really going and engaging and then carrying on and going and winning the ball rather than just going pressing and maybe staying a few yards away. He actually went and engaged Williams and took the ball off him and drew the free kick.
McCrory plays the ball over the top. Kyle Wootton timed his run well and controls it on the left wing he is, with Enzio for company, and it is the Dutchman on the ball. cuts in onto his right foot, edge of the penalty area still, has Booty for company, shakes one tackle, still has it. Cruyff turns and tries to squeeze between too many players, and in the end he's done too much, but by freak luck and chance it has ricocheted back to him, and he's back in possession once more inside the Fylde penalty area. He's got lots of players around him and he's giving it away, although Notts still have it. It's with Booty, now Thomas, 1-2, back to Booty, tries to play it across the 6-yard box, and Notts have a corner kick. I have no idea how Notts have a corner kick, because they tried their best to give the ball away there. We have 7 minutes of additional time. Thankfully, the assessor has figured out the board.
That's it, yeah. One of the scrappiest bits of good play you'll ever see in an attacking third there from Notts. It ricocheted this way and that, and eventually fell to Regan Booty and tried to slide it across goal. It's put out to the near post for a corner that he will take from the attacking left for Notts.
Booty with the outswinger, but not just yet, because the wind is really blowing through that gap between the Derek Pavers stand and the Kop away to our left-hand side. The flag is doing a bit of a happy dance and, quite frankly, getting in the way. And Booty takes it. Something worked off of the training ground. It was really well worked until it fell to McCrory, who let the ball hit his standing foot and took an air shot with the other one. But they'll have a second bite of the cherry. Ball to the back post in the direction of Kyle Wootton, just beyond him, and Fylde will clear it away.
Yeah, it was a well-worked corner, just a difficult ball to hit, wasn't it? Damien McCrory, obviously the man coming from the left, will be able to sweep it with his left foot if he made contact. He didn't, bit of an air shot, hit his standing foot, but well worked, got him into the space, just unable to execute what would have been a difficult skill on this zippy surface. 1
minute of the 7 have been played, added on at the end of this first half, and Fylde drift the ball from left to right, and Jordan Williams was waiting for it ever so patiently to land, and in the end the ball crossed the goal line, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. Williams, who scored 4 in his last 5 games. Rochdale once paid 100,000 for him to Barrow. That was not £100,000 worth of perception and control there, though, from the Fylde winger. Goal kick taken, looking long, up in the direction of Wootton. Notts could be in here. Wootton's pass, as he tried to thread it through to his strike partner Thomas, was just a touch astray, and it presented the ball back to the team in yellow and black. And there's a nasty tackle from Danny Rowe, and the 4th official turned referee's got a decision to make here, because the boot was high.
Yeah, the boot was high, and I'm sure Damien McCrory felt it. I don't know if he's maybe making a bit more of it, but I would imagine he's certainly going to get a card here. It could be red, but I would imagine yellow is possibly favourite.
Yeah. Well, Neil Byrne, the skipper for Fylde, has come across and had a chat with the referee, and he seems satisfied with the explanation that he's been given. I think the ref's probably just said to him, look, I'm only going to book him, don't worry, and that has, as I say, satisfied the skipper. And it is a yellow card. We can cross to Mansfield, why not? Because there's this break in play, and see how Stags are getting on in what I would imagine is stoppage time at Field Mill. Thank you, Jake. Meanwhile, here play is yet to resume. Damien McCrory's back up to his feet, says to the referee that better have been a red card. It wasn't, it was a yellow card, and the half-time whistle has just gone at Field Mill, so the Stags are a goal down at home against Plymouth at the break there. We'll cross back to Jake for a more considered report in a few minutes' time. We've played about 3.5 minutes of the 7 added on. You kind of hope that the referee doesn't add all of this time on time, because frankly we've got places to be this evening. So Bakayoko, who puts his foot through the ball and quite fortunately finds the chest of Kyle Wootton, who does well to control it and gives it to Enzio Baldwin. Weaves all the way along the midfield from left to right, and Notts do well there. They work it well down to Mitchell Rose, who tries to nutmeg Phyllis Kirk and work his way into the penalty area. But Phyllis Kirk keeps his legs closed, and Fylde have it back, albeit only briefly, because Notts are in possession once more. It's with the goal scorer, Wes Thomas, does well to control it. On the right wing he is. dinks it along the right-hand side. Chance for handball against Duxbury, but the referee's not interested. And Fylde are back in possession with Philliskirk, the former... Well, he's been a lot of places. I think he's about 16 clubs in total. Blackpool, Oldham, Coventry, Sheffield United. Started his career at Chelsea in their academy. Wasn't quite the size it is nowadays. Ball down the right-hand side from Williams will trickle away and go behind for a goal kick. We have played nearly 5 of the 7 added on. And all in all, Mark Stallard, it's been satisfactory, hasn't it, from a Notts perspective?
Yeah, it has. It's been decent. Fylde have had a good spell, sort of in the middle of that half after the interval with the stoppage in play, which, I say, just killed any momentum Notts might have been getting from that lead that they took. But they've come back a little bit better in the last 5 minutes or so. Notts got on the front foot, and we've had a couple of occasions where, again, you just see this Fylde team, they throw bodies forward, and they're going to be dangerous on the break as they come forward now. Yeah,
a bit of an overload down the left-hand side. It's with Horton, who's proved himself to be tricky. Gives it to Bradley, who offers the overlap. That's really good defending at the near post, though, by Conor Rawlinson. He's gone behind for a corner kick, but he's done well, because Bradley was trying to find Rowe in the middle of the penalty area on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Rawlinson was quickly down and managed to smuggle it behind for that corner kick. Yeah,
they're certainly not shy in getting runners beyond the forward line, are they? And that's exactly how they have to do when they've got Danny Rowe as a striker. So fancy this game is certainly not over.
In swinging corner headed away by Regan Booty, who was completely free and unchallenged in the middle of the penalty area. It's with Duxbury out to the left-hand side once more. Another in-swinging ball coming from Horton. Well, cut out by Sam Osborne and out for a throw on the far side. It's still the first half, despite the fact that, well, approaching 5-4. We've played 6 of the 7 minutes added on. Ball forward from Fylde. Notts continuing to lead by 1-0, but they are under pressure here in the dying moments of this first half. Up to the right they go. That's not a great tackle from Bakayoko back there, but he does get away with it. He seems to come through the back of his man. Rowe in possession once more. He works enough space for a shot, but it was very tame and a bit of a daisy cutter straight down the throat of the goalkeeper, Sam Slocum, who's been largely unemployed in this first half. Couple of simple saves to make, but the majority of efforts that have come his way have sailed over the top of the crossbar or gone wide.
Yeah, he's had plenty of chances, plenty of opportunities to strike at goal. He's not really found the strike he's been looking for on any occasion, Danny Rowe, but he's got that confidence about him, that air about him that all goal scorers have, that when the ball comes into him, whether he's 25-30 yards out or whether he's in the penalty area, he's always looking to find that opening to go for goal. He's had, what, 4 efforts so far. Not really troubled Sam Slocum too much with any of them, but it just goes to show that there is a threat for Fylde, and with them sort of runners from deep as well, just allows Rowe to come and sit in pockets and pick up space as well.
Like a vintage Mark Stallard, shoot on sight. So if Sam Osborne turns it forward towards Thomas on the halfway line, he's got 3 or 4 players around him, and it's Byrne who comes up with it, the 26-year-old. Plays it out to the left-hand side. It's with Horton once more. He weaves away from a couple of players and inadvertently gets it back. Plenty of space, and Notts are just sitting off him a touch as we've played those 7 minutes now that are added on, albeit and maybe a little bit more for the injury to Damien McCrory. Notts are just struggling to get out here at the moment, struggling to clear their lines, though the referee does now finally blow his whistle and bring to an end that first half. And we are underway in this second half, and the assessor, who was dressed like a geography teacher, who became the 4th official as Conor Rawlinson doesn't clear his lines inside his own penalty area, and it presents Horton with a half opportunity to cause some damage, is now the 4th official, and he's well dressed in the correct wear as Kyle Wootton gets released down the right channel for Notts. He tries to get away from his man and realises he can't, and so finds Sam Osborne on the right wing, stands the ball up into the penalty area. Notts have got a man over at the back post. That's where it goes as well. It's Enzio, who for some reason didn't really expect the ball, I don't think, but he is going to win a corner kick. Odd start to the second half, but Notts have a corner.
Yeah, just felt Enzio could be a little bit more determined there, a little bit more positive, maybe giving a shout to Wes Thomas, who's in front of him, just to leave the ball. But as it was, it dropped, a little bit of a scramble, and eventually Enzio managed to force a corner for Notts early on their attacking left.
3 players up near the penalty spot for Notts, 2 on the edge of the 18-yard box. The ball is going to go towards McCrory, who wins a header on the edge of the 6-yard box, but could never get up over the top of it, and it goes over the bar and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, unfortunately, McCrory does well, wins the header, but it's a hanging sort of cross, isn't it? Floated sort of cross. He has to hang up there a long time, and probably a little bit too high for him. Couldn't get over the top of the ball, and the ball just loops over the crossbar away to our right of Dan Lavercombe's goal. So it's changed to Lavercombe second half, weirdly enough.
Yeah, never mind. I was going to say, but for the weird opening minute or so, I was going to... No changes at half-time amongst the officials, as already mentioned, but not on the pitch for the players either. So that means Sam Slocum still in goal for Notts, Rich Brindley at right back, Bakayoko left back, McCrory and Rawlinson in the middle of defence, Baldwin and Osborne on the wings, Booty and Rose in the middle of midfield, and up front Thomas, who scored the goal 18 minutes into this game that gave Notts the lead that they still hold. Up front with Kyle Wootton. As for the visitors, Dan Lavercombe in goal. At right back, Tyler Forbes. Left back, Scott Duxbury. Middle of defence, Kyle Jameson and Neil Byrne, who used to be at Forest back in the day. They're playing a 4-2-3-1 formation. Croasdale and Philliskirk, as the linesman's flag goes up against Thomas here for Notts. So Croasdale and Philliskirk are the two. The three are Bradley, Horton, who's tricky, and Williams, and up front Danny Rowe, who's got 4 goals to his name so far this season. He had 4 attempts in that first half. Was getting closer because the last one was on target, but certainly poses a threat, does Rowe. As here comes Horton down the left-hand side, cuts the ball back into the penalty area, and Rawlinson has to put it behind for a corner kick, a trait that Notts have shown so far this season, as they can be a little bit slow starting the second half, and perhaps that's the case here today as well.
Yeah, possibly. We'll have to wait and see as this second half just gets itself going, but it's a corner to Fylde from their left-hand side, which they take short. Yeah, you fancy if Notts give Danny Rowe 4 chances in this second half, they'll not be keeping their clean sheet.
Duxbury was on the ball. It's now with Horton on the left-hand side. They went short from the corner kick to Williams. Got loads of space on the left-hand side. Freedom of Meadow Lane as he puts the ball into the penalty area. Probably should have done better with that amount of time, although Brindley did close him down towards the end of the move. Went straight into the gloves of the keeper. Sam Slocum on the bench for Notts this afternoon. Jake Keane, Christian Dennis, Pierce Bird, Declan Dunn and Sean Shields. Rose completely gets his pass wrong. Tried to find Brindley and ended up, by some sort of luck and fortune, finding Osborne instead, though Wes Thomas won't be quite so lucky. And here's quite the counter-attack now for Fylde. They have 4 against 4 and another man joining. It's with Horton, edge of the area. McCrory cuts it out and then tries to win a second tackle, which he does. Brindley then goes down, wanted the free kick, won't get one. It's with Croasdale, left side of the penalty area. The number 8's going to try and bend it, but never really got hold of the ball. It might have took a nick off of a Notts defender on the way through. And Fylde didn't really make the use of the one-man advantage that they had on that counter-attack.
No, and eventually it was Damien McCrory getting Wes Thomas out of a big hole after some sloppy play, gave the ball away when he had Notts runners going beyond him and allowed Fylde to break down the left. McCrory gets him out of it.
Good link-up play between Wootton and Thomas. It is with Wootton on the right-hand side, edge of the penalty area, now near the corner flag. He's got Brindley for company, and he'll try to cross it first time. It goes up in the air off of Jameson and lands on the same man's head. And Fylde will work themselves out defensively. Down the right they go. Breaking out of defence is Forbes. He's got a man to his right, Croasdale to his left, and he's still going. Tries to slot the ball down the right channel for Williams, but was cut out on that far side by Booty, who's back there with Baldwin. Now Baldwin is a bit lax with his approach, and Notts do just about enough to maintain possession. 5 minutes into this second half as we are 1-0 up. The Magpies. It's with Horton, and Notts start the second half like they ended the first, firmly under the cosh. The ball flashes across the penalty area, and it was just an inch or two in front of Williams at the back post, who wasn't expected to head in his direction, and he was completely unmarked, couldn't control it, and goes out for a foul throw that he'll now take.
Yeah, completely on his heels, wasn't he, Jordan Williams? If he'd have expected that, you know, he maybe have been able to bring it under his spell and have a shot at goal, but fortunately for Notts, a little bit sloppy from the Fylde wide man, if you like.
With Bradley now for Fylde on the right-hand side of the penalty area at the angle, on his left foot, going to shoot well high and well wide. There's a crowd of 10,000 or so in here this afternoon, and they've been given little to get all that encouraged about so far in the first 6 minutes of this second half.
No, as we said in the first half, it's Fylde on the front foot. They look lively, they move the ball reasonably sharply, and they look to get bodies forward. They're not shy in putting bodies into the Notts penalty area and in and around the Notts back four. Now, if Notts can get through that, move the ball, it might even be a case of going a little bit longer, you know, trying to get the ball into the bodies of Wes Thomas or Kyle Wootton. Then that'll give them the chance to build. But I think the next goal in this game is going to be absolutely vital.
They have it again, do the visitors, inside Notts territory, but Notts win it back, and it's with Sam Osborne, who's surging through the middle of the park, gives it to Thomas, but with too much fizz on it, never could really control it. I think he was looking to use Thomas as almost like a kind of table tennis bat and get it straight back again, but not at the pace that he'd fired it in there.
Yeah, just wanted to play a little wall pass off him, didn't he? Just bounce it off him and get the return, but Wes Thomas unable to control the ball. And it breaks down again, but it's, you say at half-time, Notts need to just have some period of possession, keep hold of the ball, move it well, and if you do that, they'll create chances.
Thomas tries to get the other side of Jameson and does. He's so quick, even though he's 32, manages to get the other side of Jameson, despite the fact that the Fylde centre-half had the advantage. Ball into the Coasters penalty area. Notts are coasting at the moment, really, as Fylde have possession once more. It's with Bradley. He's got a man to his left, and that is Danny Rowe with the number 9, left side of the penalty area. Rawlinson trying to show him the angle. He turns this way, and that he continues to do so. He's got 2 men in front of him now. He plays the ball up into the midriff of a couple of those Notts players, and the Magpies win it back. He kind of ran out of ideas in the end there, did the big number 9. And now it's with Wootton. Notts look good when they get the ball forward to Wootton and Thomas. They're showing real threats, and that's exactly what Wootton does there. He had Byrne for company the entire time, and he was trying to swap shirts with him a little bit early, and eventually the referee Lee Hartley gives a free kick.
Yeah, but that Notts look good because there's that much space. You know, it's almost like Fylde are playing their back four against Wootton and Thomas, and if Notts can get the ball into them with quality and then maybe get a runner, maybe be it a full-back or a midfield player, then they're right on this back four and can get them turned and can cause problems. You know, Fylde are gambling. Fylde really are gambling. They've got a lot of bodies forward, trying to win the ball early, high up the pitch, and you know, it's down to Notts to have the quality to get through that.
We've given it away again of the Magpies, this time directly in front of where the 2 Neils stand, Cox and Ardley. Although, as I say that, Fylde give it back to Notts, and now Notts give it back to Fylde, and we've had a very non-league sequence of events. And so with Bradley on the right-hand side, he stands the ball up into the penalty area. Rowe tries to nod it back down. Mitchell Rose looked to head a ball which was only maybe 6 inches above the turf, and they've not cleared their lines. Rawlinson does well to make a slide tackle after Rowe's shot come cross, barrelled into his legs, and it's gone behind for another corner kick, a 5th, and Notts are the makers of their own downfall.
They are, but Ryan Croasdale's going absolutely ballistic at the ref, because Mitch Rose almost blatantly handled the ball. They went for a low diving header, got it all wrong. I mean, you could see from here it came off his hand, and Croasdale's telling the referee that. He's having none of it, but Mitch Rose can consider himself a little bit lucky not to have conceded a penalty there.
It was an odd decision. It was like he committed to the header and then realised it wasn't going to bounce anywhere near as high as he was hoping for. There's loads of pushing and shoving going on around the penalty spot. The referee's had a word about it once, but here comes the in-swinging corner, and Brindley at the near post wins the header, and there's your token free kick because of all of that pushing and shoving, and Mark Stallard goes, well, of course.
Of course, yeah, but you know, you want that to keep going, but got to be said, 10 minutes this second half been played. Notts looking a little bit slow, a little bit lethargic in the way they're going about the game. Fylde obviously up for it, still feel they're in this game, which of course they are, and they just look like a team with a little bit more urgency, a little bit more zip about their play. Notts, you just feel like need an injection of energy if they come from somewhere.
Ball forward, up towards Wootton, flicks it on in the general direction of Thomas, but couldn't get there. There are substitutes warming up away to our left-hand side. Dennis Dunn and I think Shields as well, although he's on all fours at the moment doing some kind of stretching. In the Premier League, the lunchtime game finished Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 1 down at Bournemouth. They are now leading West Ham by 2-1, having trailed by a 1-0 earlier on. Villa are beating Burnley. Chelsea are beating Brighton at Stamford Bridge. It's 1-0 to Crystal Palace against Norwich. Spurs are beating Southampton by 2-1, and Wolves are still leading Watford by a 1-0 at Molineux. We'll check in with Jake shortly as well. There was 7 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half here because the referee got injured, and so everyone else is quite some distance ahead of us at Meadow Lane. It's with Mitch Rose in the other centre circle, rolls it through to Osborne, opens his body, and now Cruyff turns and gets away from his man. He's going to have another go from range. He aimed for the top corner. Goalkeeper with a save. That might have been one for the cameras if there were any here. It's gone behind for a corner kick, and Sam Osborne's brought his shooting boots.
Yeah, fantastic effort. Good play by Sam Osborne. Talking about that little pocket of space that he was talking about on Tuesday night that Neil Ardley encourages him and Enzio to try and get in. And what that is, it's between the midfield and the defensive lines, maybe 15, 20 yards in from the touchline, so it's not a wide traditional winger hugging the touchline. He's going in and finding the ball. Lovely little Cruyff turn onto his left foot, lets fly from 25 yards, and it's heading goal bound. As you say, Leverkusen, a little bit of one for the cameras, pushes it behind for a corner.
57 on the clock. The in-swinging corner is far too deep for everybody, and I don't think Rawlinson will catch it as it curls away for a goal kick on the far side. That's a waste from Regan Booty.
Yeah, it is as well, but yeah, Sam Osborne again, he's had 2 or 3 efforts, hasn't he? Certainly 2 good efforts have stung the hands of Leverkusen in the filed goal, and that goal on Tuesday night is obviously shooting from distance is something he's got in his armoury, and hopefully he can keep picking up the spaces to find himself to pull the trigger more often.
Defensive work probably isn't in Sam Osborne's armoury, as he's easily skipped past, not for the first time today, but this time by a centre-half, and Fylde are camped inside the Notts half once more. It's with Horton. Tries to give it to Bradley. A little bit of miscommunication there, as Bradley had already stepped to the other side, and Notts have it back with Kyle Wotton, who will switch it from left to right, where, as Mark Stallard alluded to about 5 minutes ago, there's loads of space when Notts go forward. Sam Osborne, the ball in behind him, can't keep hold of it, and just occasionally a little bit too easily dispossess the Notts youngster. Not to be too harsh on him, because he's had 2 good attempts from range, and he's done some nice stuff out there as he tries to intercept the play, but oh, well done, referee. New rule. I thought for a moment there Notts were going to be set free by the fact that the ball had struck the back of the heels of the referee, Mr. Hartley. But new rules introduced this summer means that any time that the ball does touch the referee, now you have to stop play, which is, I guess, the right thing to do. Duxbury with a cross towards the back post, over the top of the head of Bakayoko and Williams, out for a throw on the far side, and high time that we checked in with Jake. I was going to say early stages at Field Mill in this second half, Jake, but I guess it's not. You've probably played 20 minutes of it. Thank you, Jake. Meanwhile here, Fylde with a good attack down the left-hand side was well cut out by Bakayoko at the back stick, who I think he might have just strained something in the back of his left leg in the process. Meanwhile, there is a change on the way here. Young man Sam Osborne is about to come off, with Sean Shields coming on, and Meadow Lane rises to its feet in many sections to give the man who scored the goal that ultimately was the difference at Boreham Wood on Tuesday a very good round of applause. He has had his moments in this game as well.
He certainly has. 2 really good efforts from distance. He just started to look a little bit tired, hasn't he, in the last couple of moments. And with Fylde in the ascendancy, I think Neil Ardley's opted to make that change, but he's done well against Sam Osborne. Can be pleased with his showing.
Duxbury has the ball near the corner flag in front of the Kop, away to our left-hand side. Slide tackle made by Brindley, deflects it behind for a 6th corner of the game for the visitors. He was just coming a little bit too easy to beat, wasn't he, down the flank, and Fylde, I think, had recognised that as well.
Yeah, I think that obviously not the big part of his game, and he spoke about that on Tuesday night as well, didn't he? He's got to add a little bit of sort of work for the team in terms of defensive nous and strength, but that'll come.
Short corner, edge of the area. It goes to Duxbury, who changes the angle and crosses it into the penalty area. Not a good ball though, but it comes straight back out to Horton. To Williams, ball into the area. How on earth has Jameson missed that? It wouldn't have mattered anyway because the linesman's flag was up on the far side. I guess the reason why he missed it is because he's a centre half, but the ball flashed in front of him, sat up on a plate. All he had to do was turn it home, and well, he missed everything. But like I say, linesman's flag up. 61 gone, 1-0 to Notts still.
Yeah, it was one of them, like I say, it was a centre-half's finish, trying to finish, open his right foot up, and first-time side-foot volley finish, gets nothing but fresh air. He won't even be able to blame the fact that he knew the flag was up, as the linesman's flag was on the far side, directly behind him. But thankfully for Notts, it wouldn't have counted. But still, Fylde probably, well, definitely having the better of this second half so far. Notts really unable to get themselves a foothold, as we are.
A first appearance at home, this, for Sean Shields, man with the best quiff in non-league football. He's had 2 appearances off the bench so far. One was at Boreham Wood on Tuesday, one was down at Sutton back at the start of this month. Picked up a little bit of an injury after that, which is what has kept him out. He works his way back into fitness. And Sam Osborne has his rest now on this near touchline. We play 62 minutes. Notts next in action after today at Dover, which is next Saturday. Full commentary of that on Matchday on BBC Radio Nottingham. Meanwhile, here the ball is with Kyle Wootton, controls it well, but then gives it away as he's surrounded by a number of players. And maybe Notts just starting to look a little tired in places, and certainly losing the midfield battle at the moment. Too easy to get past. Yeah,
I think that's why it says listed to the change. Not just the change in personnel, I think they've changed the shape. They've gone to a diamond in the middle of the park, Notts. Sean Shields is going to play at the point of that diamond furthest forward, in behind Wootton and Thomas. Enzio's on the right-hand side, slightly narrow, and Regan Booty on the left, narrow. And Mitch Rose is going to be the deepest line midfielder of the 4, so we'll see how that takes.
McCrory comes across and tries to make the tackle. Then there is a good tackle made by Zumana Bakayoko, and he had to get it right as he was inside his own penalty area, but the danger's still not cleared. Horton tries to poke the ball through to Danny Rowe, doesn't do so. Notts desperately trying to clear their lines, and they will do out to the left-hand side with Ruben Booty, who plays it down the left wing, but Carl Wootton had come short, and Booty's ball went long, and so Fylde are back in possession once more. 63 on the clock at the moment. It looks like a matter of time before Fylde will eventually get the goal that they probably deserve at this rate. Yeah, they're knocking at the door, aren't they? Notts are looking a little bit stretched, a little bit last ditch at times. They're impressive on the ball, Fylde, and I say that they've had men forward in advanced positions all throughout the game, and here they come again down the left-hand side. Yeah, Duxbury's the man who's on the ball. First time cross into the penalty area. Croasdale was the target, and Rawlinson's put it behind for yet another corner for the visitors. Yeah, Neil Ardley changing the shape. He obviously not happy with how things are going. You know, although 1 goal to the good, it's certainly Fylde all over Notts at the moment. And they are sleeping from this short corner here. Ball to the back post is put behind for a goal kick, but the Magpies are absolutely asleep. They offer the short corner, 2 men go over to this near side, and then another stands at the angle on the point of the 18-yard box. They've run that routine 3 times, and that time the only person who was awake to it, and I'm only talking semi-conscious, was Enzio Baldwin. Yeah, I mean, they're looking a little bit tired, aren't they, Notts? They look almost like a team that's, you know, travelled down to Bromley last Saturday, travelled down to Boreham Wood in the week. They look, at this moment in time, as if maybe that is just taking a bit of an effect in the legs. So we'll see. And again, Neil Ardley's just called one of the other subs in and having Dennis, a chat. Christian Dennis. So we'll see if there's going to be another change. But yeah, we do just, well, certainly don't look as fresh as Fylde. Fylde got a spring in their step. 65 minutes on the clock. Here they come again down the right-hand side. Ball down that right to Williams. Cuts it back once more with Forbes. It's Williams. Left-footed cross towards the back post in the direction of Horton, who controls it and stabs his shot across the 6-yard box, and Rawlinson scuffs his clearance behind, and it's yet another corner kick to the visitors. Yeah, I mean, without creating anything in terms of an open chance or clear-cut chance, it's all Fylde. And it does look like they're just knocking at the door, banging at the wall, you know, and it is going to break at any moment in time. Notts at the last ditch, and one or two of the players look a little bit out on their feet. Short corner again. And the cross from Williams, he insists, came off of Shields, but referee and linesman disagree, and instead it's going to be a goal kick. And another substitution on the way for Notts. Christian Dennis is the man who's coming on. Wes Thomas will come off. He got his goal. 66 minutes have been played, and a wonderful individual goal it was inside the 18th minute when he received the ball 25 yards out, turned his man, beat 2 or 3 players and managed to squeeze it in at the near post past the goalkeeper. That was his 3rd goal in Notts colours. On comes Dennis, who has 4 to his name so far this season.
Yeah, Wes Thomas, fantastic goal for Notts in that first half. Looked lively, but in the second half, Notts not been able to get him in the game. Well, similarly to Kyle Wootton, they've not really seen anything from Notts in an attacking sense. It has been all fired, so Neil Ardley able to bring some fresher legs on, hoping to change that.
Wootton tried to slide it down the right channel for Shields, but it was cut out before he could reach it, and Fylde will look to break down the left-hand side. He's got Horton on the ball, who's nimble with the ball at his feet. Finds Duxbury on the left-hand side as a cross into the penalty area, headed away by Rawlinson, and it finds Horton once more to Bradley, to Duxbury on the left wing. Brindley in front of him, he's running at him, cuts in on his right foot, it's deflected to the back post. Is Williams onside? He was, but the goalkeeper makes a really good save, and really Fylde should be level.
Yeah, so that's the best chance they've had, and Jordan Williams, a really good chance at the back post. Danny Rowe was stood yards offside, but he let the ball run across him, and Williams brings a save out of Sam Slocum.
Corner at the near post, comes back out, shot stings the palm of Sam Slocum, who shouts to his defenders and tells them to get out. Notts at the moment are looking like they're just waiting to concede so they can kickstart their own game again. 67 minutes gone, nearly 68 on the clock. Matter of time before Fylde equalise if it continues like this.
Yeah, it certainly does look like that, and they've been under that much pressure, Notts, that yeah, Sam Slocum's screaming at them to get out when the ball goes to the halfway line for a throw-in. But when you get pinned back in and you're kept back in, it is difficult to make that run forward, because you think, well, I might just sit back in here because the ball's going to come back in. And you get deeper and deeper and deeper, and Notts have got to beware of falling into that trap.
Kyle Wootton wins the ball in a 50-50 with Croasdale on the halfway line. It's now with Phyllis Kirk. Takes a touch, gets away from Shields, turns out onto this left-hand side where he finds Rowe. He's got Duxbury out there as well. Rowe's going to cross the ball to the back post, and Williams goes down inside the penalty area. McCrory almost riding him, and Slocum collects the ball and bowls it out into the midfield for Mitchell Rose, who puts the brakes on, comes back on himself and plays a long searching pass over the top in the direction of Christian Dennis. And it wasn't the worst of balls, and I'm not sure Christian Dennis perfectly read the flight of it. It is a windy day and it's got away from him, and it'll be a throw-in for the visitors. 69 minutes on the clock here. Notts lead by a goal to nil. Mansfield are a goal down at home against Plymouth. Forest beat Stoke last night at the Bet365 Stadium. I almost gave a different brand unnecessary advertisement then for a second, since it changed its name, did that stadium in the last couple of years or so. In the Premier League, Bournemouth are beating West Ham by 2-1. It's now 1-1 between Villa and Burnley, 2-0 to Chelsea against Bournemouth. As I break off, Brighton, it's Wootton who's got the ball, who shoots. It's like it's an ice rink out here today. Shoots, loses his footing, and as a result, his shot goes straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. That was a good opportunity for Notts, and a well-worked moment from Sean Shields and Kyle Wootton to free themselves up, and a wasted opportunity at that. But they come again now, down the left-hand side, ball across the penalty area. Zamana Bakayogo's never lifted his head. Gone out for a goal kick.
Oh yeah, if ever you need an example of a player not picking the head up, that's it. Bakayogo's just got to take his time. There's no Notts player in the penalty area there. He just puts it in first time. As Notts player are trying to break, they've just won the ball back on the halfway line. Nobody's going to be up there. They didn't have a look and wasted the ball, but yeah, it was a real good opportunity. It's like nobody's got any long studs these days. Kyle Wootton inside the penalty area, good chance, good shooting opportunity. Just loses his footing as he goes to shoot and almost kicks it off his standing leg as it loses traction underneath him, and eventually takes all the pace off the ball and straight into the hands of Lavercombe in the Fylde goal. But that is the best chance that Notts have created, in fact the only chance they've created in this second half.
McCrory steps out of defence and beats a couple of men, and Notts now have it with Enzio inside the penalty area to the right hand side. Really good last ditch tackle by Kyle Jameson, sees it go behind for a Notts corner. I've just read the attendance out. A little over 9,000 are in here this afternoon, 148 of whom have come from Fylde. So no new non-league attendance record set here on this occasion. 11,000 and some change is the record, and so not some 2,000 off of that. Very good attendance nonetheless. The last time they had a reduced attendance, they had more than 15,000 in here, and that was last season. Here comes the corner kick for Notts. In at the near post. McCrory flicks it on to the back post. Rawlinson's there, nods it down, off of Byrne. Another corner kick.
Yeah, say, well worked corner, that one to the near post. Just a little bit too much on the flick from Damien McCrory. Just looped it beyond the back post. Rawlinson doing well just to win another corner, this time from Notts attacking left, which Sean Shields runs across to take. But they just need to keep Fylde pinned back in their own half, in their own penalty area for a moment. Just give the defence a bit of a breathing space and have some quality play in the attacking third. 72
minutes on the clock. Christian Dennis controls the ball at the near post. It bounced up and hit his hand, but the referee said play on, and Notts have the ball on the halfway line with Bakayoko. Some of the big men still forward, so the ball is launched back up to the opposition penalty area. And now Notts need to be careful, because Fylde are going to counter-attack. They've got a 3-on-3. Down the right-hand side they go. It's with Horton. He cuts it in, and Rowe is breaking into the edge of the penalty area. It's cut back straight towards him once more. Rose manages to head it away. There are two men unmarked at the back stick that they couldn't find, and one of them that they couldn't find is Williams, who's crossing the ball into the area. Slocum comes for it, paws it away, and Notts more than ride their luck there. And it's still 1-0, but starting to wonder how.
Well, that's it, yeah. They're dangerous every time they come forward, aren't they, Fylde, without so far finding that key to unlocking the door. But they just flood men forward. On that occasion, as they broke down the right, you say Danny Rose busting a gut to break through the middle. Fortunately for Notts, the ball into him was just slightly behind him, and Notts were able to just get enough bodies back to scramble the ball away. But it's certainly far from convincing.
Mark Yates is on for Fylde. He replaces the number 13 Tyler Forbes. Yates was at Notts, loan spell from January to the summer of 2017. He's had more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. Played for Leicester, Sheffield United, Watford, Bradford, Brighton. He was at Spurs as a youngster. He's been about a little bit, and he's 34 now, and will come into the fray here. And I wonder if they're looking to change the shape a little, are the visitors, as they try to get a goal back in this game.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they'll change the shape or not, but they seem to be playing well enough. It's maybe just a change of personnel. Forbes, the fullback, being taken off. Possibly Yates being seen as a bit more progressive and a bit more quality on the ball. We'll wait and see, but I don't think there's been too much of a change to the shape.
Well, final change here for the Magpies. We'll see Pierce Bird come on in place of Enzio Baldwin. Tiring perhaps, and Notts really just trying to put another big body out there who can try and maintain this one goal advantage that they have.
Yeah, it's another game, isn't it? That'll frustrate for Enzio. Not really been involved, not got involved in the game particularly. And Pierce Bird obviously just more of a defensive option, as Fylde are going to look to throw the kitchen sink at Notts, and maybe that's just a reaction to the pressure that they've already put Notts under. So
both of the wingers have been replaced, and Bird goes back there defensively. Three-man defence by the looks of things in the very early stages. That just could be a coincidence of the passage of play. Bird, McCrory and Rawlinson back there, and Notts are going to have a throw-in on the far side after Crowsdale let the ball run over the line. It's been a while since we checked in with Jake. 75 minutes on the clock here. Jake, how are they getting on there at Field Mill? Stags against Plymouth, and Plymouth were leading by a 1-0. Thank you, Jake. Still 1-0 here to Notts. They're looking to win back-to-back games for the first time since February. And it would be a 5th win of the season for Notts, as they have a throw-in on the right wing. Brindley takes it, gives it to Wootton. Kind of juggles it up over the top of AFC Fylde player. Looked like Phyllis Kirk had handled it as he blocked it with his right arm, but the referee says it was his chest instead. Must have a massive chest. And Byrne, the centre-half for the Coasters, has the ball once more. 76 minutes gone in this game, less than 15 remain, and it has been one-way traffic virtually throughout this second half, with Duxbury, who crossed it into the penalty area. Safe pair of hands shown by the goalkeeper, Sam Slocum.
Yeah, that's it. And again, Fylde coming forward, pouring men forward. And Notts just really unable to have any spell in this second half where they retain possession of the ball and keep Fylde back in their own half. They're free to run forward at will, and even there, you know, we've just seen Sam Slocum kick the ball just down the opposite end of the field, straight through to his opposite number. No Notts player within 20-30 yards of the ball, and just allowing Fylde to come back at Notts.
Mitchell Rose tackles from behind but gets the ball, and the referee seems happy with that, and so Notts have it. Regan Booty, middle of the park, down the left-hand side, he plays it. Not a bad ball. Can Sean Shields get there? Not quite. Jameson, who's not the quickest, just about gets there in front of him, but Shields nicks it back off of him, and he's down by the corner flag on the far side. Got 2 yellow and black shirts with him, and he does well, does Shields, to win a throwing. Good ball from Booty, and Shields providing a good outlet.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, good ball from Booty, but again, just as he got the ball in the middle of the park, because Notts have been so deep and been pushed back, so few options for him, and he eventually just puts the ball into a good area, does the right thing. Shields gives chase and eventually wins a throw-in for Notts up by the corner flag, which Notts would take their time getting forward to, but it's been too few and far between that they've been up that end of the pitch.
Ball down the left-hand side is blocked as Fylde look to clear it away in the direction of Rowe. It's now with McCrory. Plays it forward, deflects up in the air, and Christian Dennis controls it. Booty looked to slide it down the left-hand side as Bakayoko was breaking down there, but cut out once more, and Fylde have it back in possession. Loads of space inside the Notts half, but their quality at that point isn't particularly good either. Is Carl Wootton offside? Nope. Notts play on, down the left they come. Booty there, Dennis as well, Wootton in the middle, and Brindley trying to get forward from the right fullback position. Ball into the penalty area, almost finds its way towards Wootton. The referees
you've got to blow
one off of his backside.
You've done it once.
Yes, indeed. He's not blown up this time. He's still very much intact, and here come Fylde down the left-hand side. Horton is the target, and he'll get onto the ball, and he gets his cross into the area as well. Croasdale takes the touch, and it ends up in the gloves of Sam Slocum.
Well, that'd have been a talking point, wouldn't it, if Fylde had gone ahead and scored from that, because the ball blasted against the referee inside Fylde's own half, straight to another Fylde player, and he allowed them to play on, and fortunately Croasdale touched too heavy, went through to Slocum, but that would have been another talking point.
Rawlinson on the ball, and the Notts fans around Meadow Lane starting to feel a bit edgy, a bit nervy, and as Wootton tries to get onto it. Going to be a corner kick. Yes, it is. Jameson sticks it behind as Notts win their 9th corner of the game, and that seems to just wake the supporters up a little bit.
Yeah, really good running from Carl Wootton, running the channel, working hard, offering Rawlinson an option down the line. Nothing too clever about it, but just ball into the channel, work hard, go and win your team a corner. Good play from Carl Wootton.
Regan Booty, the man who will take this corner, right hand up in the air, signalling something. It's an in-swinger. It's not a bad ball as well, and Notts have their second of the game. Damien McCrory is the man who gives it to them as well. His first goal for Notts County. Lovely little flick on at the near post from Pierce Bird, and then up popped McCrory, edge of the 6-yard box, couldn't miss, didn't miss, and that gives Notts some much needed breathing space. They're 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go.
Oh, if ever a second goal was needed, what a time to get it. Notts been under increasing pressure in this second half, but from one of their rare forward ventures from a corner, good little ball into the near post. I think it got a little flick on from Christian Dennis at the near post and fell perfectly on the head of Damien McCrory, 5 or 6 yards out, makes no mistake with his header, buries it past Dan Lavercombe in the Fylde goal, giving Notts a 2-goal lead.
And is that going to be enough to puncture the spirit of Fylde, who've given it everything in this second half?
It's funny how football works in that way, isn't it? Notts have created next to nothing in the second half. It really has been all Fylde, and yet it now is going to feel, you would think, a lot more comfortable. Meanwhile, a change being made by Fylde as James Cragen comes on, and Nick Horton, who's been so tricky throughout the game for the visitors, he makes way.
Yeah, they'll not be sorry to see the back of him, but yeah, Fylde will certainly feel hard done to. Although, what you do have to say is, for all that pressure, Fylde not really created themselves a real clear-cut opening. You know, Jordan Williams, the best one at the far post, forced a good save or a good block from Sam Slocum. Other than that, they've had lots of pressure, not been able to unlock that door, and that's a credit to Notts defending as well. You know, it's been last-ditch at times. You know, they've not been as good in possession as they maybe would want to be, but you know, they've put bodies in the way, they've been in the right position, they've defended them crosses. So from that perspective, you've got to say well done to the lads at the back, but you don't want them to be soaking up this amount of pressure week after week.
And the chant from the cop away to our left-hand side is Neil Ardley's Black and White Army. Mitchell Rose gets the ball at his feet and then goes all the way back to Sam Slocum, blasts it clear up in the direction of Christian Dennis, and the referee, maybe somewhat kindly, gives Notts a free kick just inside their own half, and before Notts get the game back underway again. Right, that's Croasdale who's gone in the book for AFC Fylde, and can only assume that is for dissent.
Yeah, just a petulant throwing the ball at the ground when the free kick was given. Bit of frustration from Croasdale, and he finds himself the second Fylde man into the referee's book. But yeah, I think that'll tell you everything that Fylde feel at the minute. The frustration that they've not been able to find that equaliser when they were one down. For all their play, for all their attacking intent, they've not been able to break Notts down, breach that defence, and now they find themselves 2 down, and that impending sense of frustration that you're not going to get anything out of a game where, for large parts, you've been the better team.
Dave Challoner, the Fylde manager, is not a happy man, complaining about the referee to the 4th official. You can almost see from here he's saying, no, I'm not mad at you, he says to the 4th, and I'm mad at the official, who of course was the 4th when play started, because the main referee got injured. A bit of noise from the cop away to our left-hand side now as Slocum clears. Wotton's his target, doesn't quite win the header, but he's a presence up there, and proves to be a nuisance for opposition defenders. We've got 7 minutes of normal time remaining. We had 7 minutes added on at the end of the first half. As things stand, I wouldn't expect anywhere near the same amount of stoppage time, as Pierce Bird slips and falls into a challenge. Does manage to clear the ball. Williams lands on top of him, and Fylde are back in possession. We're back with you on Match Night, BBC Radio Nottingham, on Tuesday evening. That's Blackburn against Forest. There'll be full commentary on that one. The Terrace with you on Friday evening from 6 until 7. Lee Wood, the Nottingham boxer, fights on Friday evening down at Bethnal Green, York Hall. And then match day next Saturday. Notts are at Dover. It's Pierce Bird on the ball as the Magpies look to be, and I touch wood as I say this, look to be heading towards back-to-back wins for the first time this season and the first time since February. It would only be the second time this calendar year. Bradley gets lucky, gets a couple of deflections, still has it, going to have a go from range, well over the top of the crossbar. I think that's gone about 25 rows back in the Kop, and it'll be a goal kick. Sam Slocum will say, take your time in getting the ball back to me. Yeah,
I think that sort of sums up Fylde now, maybe lacking in any belief that they're going to get anything out of the game now. It was decent play again through the middle of the park. Too easy for Bradley to turn and get in between Regan Booty and Mitch Rose and advance towards that Notts penalty area, but from 25 yards when he let fly with his right foot always rising, never going to trouble Sam Slocum. And that's been, you know, a little bit of the story today. They've had plenty of efforts on goal, but very few of them troubling the Notts goalkeeper.
In the Premier League, the lunchtime game saw Liverpool win at Sheffield United by a goal to nil. It's 2-2 between Bournemouth and West Ham in that seesaw game that's gone back and forth today. Carl Wotton's got it here on the right wing near the edge of the Fylde penalty area. He's got a man on his back, Duxbury, another one coming to join him. Holds them off with ease and gives it to Richard Brindley. Bright orange boots being tackled by Duxbury, who's also wearing bright orange boots. The ball ricochets inside. Shields won't get on the end of it. Seems to follow through a little on Croasdale, who thought he'd get a free kick. He doesn't. Rose then takes advantage of that and cross it into the penalty area. It gets deflected behind, and Notts have their 10th corner of the game.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll take their time in taking this. You know, no rush now. It is looking, it's got that feel about it that Fylde think their race is run.
Yeah.
And we aren't going to get the sort of stoppage time in this second half that we had in the first, thankfully, for those who want to get home and watch Strictly.
I do. I really do.
Well, that's who I was talking to. I know how much you like it.
Thanks very much. That's on BBC One. Don't air me in public. It's a corner kick. Booty into the penalty area. Could be 3. Is it going to be 3? It's on the 6-yard box, and there was a real scramble in there as Kyle Wootton, who was on the floor, and he couldn't quite turn the ball home like Kane did last week, let's say. And now there's a counter-attack at the other end. Fylde are coming for it. Now inside the penalty area, Mitchell Rose again wins the Richard Duffy Award for the most throw-yourself-on-the-ground free kick of the day.
Yeah, that's it, exactly right. But yeah, the ball was trapped almost 4 or 5 yards out in the 6-yard box, wasn't it? From the Fylde goal, from that corner. Kyle Wootton was on the floor, trying desperately to get a foot or a knee or anything on it, turn it goalwards. Eventually, Fylde hack it clear, and then able to break as well. Unfortunately, not had enough men back. And Mitchell Rose, the man to complete the clearance with, yes, the rather theatrical falling over.
In the Premier League, it's finished Chelsea 2, Brighton 0. It's 1-0 to Crystal Palace against Norwich, 2-1 to Tottenham against Southampton, and 2-0 to Wolves against Watford. The tea-time kick-off is Everton against Manchester City at Goodison Park. Damien McCrory got the second goal on the ball, plays it down the right wing, and Wootton stands off of Jameson this time. Duxbury on the left-hand side gives it to Yates, the former Notts man, to Rowe. And we've played 87 minutes. Bradley's in space down the left-hand side, approaching the edge of the penalty area. Notts really sitting off of him. A couple of step overs, and he tried to pick out the far top corner. Didn't have the quality to find it, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, fortunately for Notts, he was unable to find that far top corner. And again, I think Fylde will leave here today. If this is going to be the final score, they'll wonder how they haven't managed to score today. They've had so much possession, so much attacking possession as well. Just a lack of quality, lack of real ruthlessness in that final third has meant they're going to be leaving here empty-handed. And Notts at times have been real desperation defending, but they've got the job done, it seems, as we enter the 89th minute. 2 goals to the good, as Sam Slocum takes the goal kick and clears his lines.
They're into 8 minutes of stoppage time up the A60 at Field Mill, where Mansfield continue to trail Plymouth by 1-0, as they have done for much of this game. Let's go across to Jake Garner now, actually. And how big of a stoppage time, 5 or 6 minutes that's left of it, do you get the feeling that this could well be for the Mansfield manager John Dempster? Thank you, Jake. Check back in with Jake at Field Mill at full time. As Mitchell Rose volleys the ball from left to right. It's a Hollywood pass, but it has come off as Rich Brindley just about does enough to control it. First time ball into the penalty area, cleared high up into the sky by Jameson. And Rose didn't fancy challenging for that one. Duxbury misread the flight of the ball. He does have it, although it's now nicked back off of him, and Rose goes down once more and wins another Duffy free kick. 10 yards inside the Fylde half, takes it quickly, gives it to Dennis, who does well to pick out Bakayoko on the far side. Got 20 seconds remaining. The fourth official's fiddling with his board, and in his fiddling I managed to spot the number 4, so 4 minutes look like they will be added on at the end of this game. That's nice. Wootton plays it out to Brindley on the right hand side, loads of space to pick out his cross, tried to find Dennis, couldn't, and then a Fylde man slips at the back stick and knocks her back in possession once more as Booty steers the play back up towards the halfway line for Pierce Bird, and Notts all of a sudden are very comfortable.
Yeah, that's it. It's amazing, doesn't it? We talk about the importance of goals in games. Notts been under the cosh for a good half hour in this second half. But then go up the other end and score, get that second goal, and the game's totally different.
Dennis down the left channel, keeper came for it and then backtracked to his goal line, cuts it back, Ball rolled over the penalty spot as it headed out of the 18-yard box. Wotton and Shields had already gone, and so the ball was played in behind them, and that has kind of denied Notts their cherry on top. Fylde come forward at the other end with a cross into the penalty area. Rowe can't win the header. Bird does, still not managed to clear it. Now Rose will, as Shields will try to bring it away. Just about gets there in front of the Fylde man who committed himself, and that could have been nasty had he have caught Shields. Shields then runs the ball away from himself, and if it wasn't for a poor Fylde touch, the visitors would surely have been back in possession, but it's Notts who've got the ball and then nip it about between themselves on the halfway line, though a poor touch from Mitchell Rose nearly presents it back to them, and now it's going to be a throwing as the quality completely departs the stadium.
Yeah, just not trying to keep the ball, but on a day like this, not really able to do it with any sort of conviction. But thankfully, they've got the job done, and that's a real quality in a team. When you're not at your best. But this Notts team now just look like they've got the capabilities to not particularly play well, but then still take all 3 points, and that looks exactly what's going to happen here today.
And a clean sheet as well. It would only be a fourth of the season, as the man of the match is being read out here now. Sam Slocum with a rather odd nod. Hey ho, I was about to mention him, a fourth clean sheet of the season, as the ball fizzes across the 6-yard box and he nearly lost it. That would have been the commentator's curse. Throwing on the far side.
Yeah, it was a dangerous ball across the face of goal, that, but nobody there from Fylde, like I say, have lost that belief really that they're going to get anything from this game, as we just see out the final couple of minutes of stoppage time. But it tells you everything, doesn't it? Sam Slocum's got the man of the match. Maybe wouldn't look at him myself, but I think you look at the two men in front of him, or the four men, but it's certainly Damien McCrory and Connell Rawlinson have been, a tower of strength for Notts, had to defend well and have done. And then you add in the fullbacks as well, and Mitch Rose in front of that. Like I say, they've been tested. We've played worse teams than Fylde this season and looked better, but I don't know, you look at the league table, Fylde 15th before we start, going to drop down, you would think. But I tell you what, they look like they've got enough capabilities to go and beat quite a lot of teams in this division.
Try to play the ball around as best as they possibly can, and certainly have caused Notts some problems this afternoon, but the Magpies have stood firm and relied on a lack of quality, I think it's fair to say, once Fylde have got themselves into shooting positions, as Dennis has conceded a corner kick. He was trying to convince the referee that it had come off of a Fylde foot last, but a ninth, make it 10th corner of the game for the visitors. And it will be an in-swinger into the penalty area inside that 6-yard box. Jameson's wins a header. It bounces underneath the goal line and they don't manage to clear it immediately. In fact, it's bobbling around in there. Jameson back up to his feet. He looked like he'd taken a knock to the head, but he's back up, and the attack really hasn't gone away just yet. It's with Yates on the left-hand side. Left-footed cross is going to go behind, land on the roof of the net, and that should pretty much be about it, Mark Stallard.
Yes, that's it. Very nearly had the 4 minutes of stoppage time. And it looks like Notts are going to leave here with all 3 points, their first back-to-back wins of the season, and a clean sheet to boot as well. But as we always say, and you have to be honest, that doesn't tell the full story of this game. Notts have been resolute, no doubt. They've worked hard, yes. A fantastic goal from Wes Thomas in the first half, but they've had to soak up some pressure, and probably grateful that it wasn't going to be Fylde's day in front of goal, not really able to have that quality in the final pass or kick. And as you imagine, Sam Slocum takes this, it is indeed the last kick of the game.
That is full-time. Neil Ardley shakes hands with his opposite number, a satisfied man this evening, I'm sure, here at Meadow Lane in front of a crowd of more than 9,000.